Matt in Kokomo.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Matt?
What's up, guys? I'm pretty good. How about you?
Good. Pretty good.
Well, first off, I'd like to say to Matt, if I did have to believe in a God, I think you would be it. You're logical, rational, and I think, we should all...
I'll release you from any obligation.
Follow your example. But anyway, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, the question I had was, I was growing up in a Christian household, really pretty hardcore Christian household, and once I hit about 20, I kind of I started thinking about things, and I'm like, this, there's like you, I believe in I believe that there should be like evidence, like really understandable evidence, to prove the existence in something like a God or anything like that, and I looked like you did, and I didn't find any, and so I guess I consider myself atheist, and I've pretty much been everything but disowned by my family because of that. And anyway, the point of my call is from from a physics standpoint, I know that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, and if we have that some sort of energy like that in our bodies, energy like that can only be transferred. So would that be sort of like maybe a quote-unquote afterlife or something? I was wondering what you thought about that idea.
Well, what's your definition of life? I mean, if it's the biological processes that make your body able to, remain animate, then no, because once your body's not doing that anymore, then you don't have life. If it's the thoughts in your head, well, once the pattern of information stored in your brain is no longer functioning, then you don't have that either. Mm-hmm. So I would say no. Can't really make a good case for an afterlife on that basis. Now you can say, that you want your body to be put in the ground where it will provide nutrients to plants. You can do that. That's sustaining some other life, but it's not you getting to continue to exist.
There's a lot of confusion when people start tossing around the word energy, because all of this New Age crap tends to toss around the word energy because it's prone to being used for equivocation. Yeah, there's energy and matter. So what? It's like, does a battery have an afterlife once we've drained it? The thing, what Jeff was pointing about, how you define life, nothing about who I am, or everything about who I am, I guess, is, as far as I can tell, the product of my brain, which is, there's energy there, but there's no identifiable mechanism for after I'm dead and my body begins to decay and the whatever energy there was, dissipates, etc., that this represents me in any sense, any more than, once we've drained the battery, it has an afterlife. Yeah. I think it's more word games than anything.
I mean, one of what I think is the best arguments against the existence of a God is that we have no evidence whatsoever that any kind of consciousness can exist apart from a physical brain. Mm-hmm. And that you'll find a lot of people who believe in gods also believe in ghosts and spooks and demons and afterlives and whatnot, because that once you take that on board, sure, I mean, you could have all kinds of people floating around without any bodies, but there is no evidence whatsoever that there's any such thing.
Yeah, I think that the thing that it kind of, that bothers me is, I'm alive and conscious and I'm doing things, and then, I know that one day I will die, and that, I've been told and believe that, if there's nothing, it's just nothing after that, like you don't be reincarnated or whatever you want to, say happens to you, just just like if there's just nothing, that's just unacceptable to me, and that's kind of scary in a way, because I
Well,
want to
but
exist, in some way.
You can, start making a list of things that are unacceptable to you. The fact that they're unacceptable does not mean they're not true. If you're concerned about living a good, long, healthy life, then the thing to do is to support research into life extension, right? Into medical technology and human life extension, because that's addressing the actual problem. Otherwise you're just in denial.
Yeah, you're saying I don't want to live in a world where I don't get to continue living. Well, how is that different from saying I don't want to live in a world where I'm not a billionaire?
True.
Yeah, there's no denying that the religious claims of afterlives can make people feel good, just like that buying a lottery ticket and thinking about your chances to win the lottery and having those dreams and spending the money before you actually get it can make people feel good. But when you don't get it, is that suddenly unacceptable? I mean, nobody's presented any reason to think that any of us are going to exist after we're dead. And there's the quote, which I'll paraphrase, which was originally attributed to Mark Twain, when he was asked about the idea of being afraid of being dead. And I'll argue that nobody experiences being dead. He said, "I was dead for 1 billion years before I was born and wasn't troubled by it one bit."
Mm-hmm. I had a friend of mine. He considers himself atheist, and he, I guess, had a brush with death. He was walking down the street on a hill, and a car, I guess the brakes went out or something, and it actually rolled over him, and he just instantly lost consciousness. And he says he remembers just seeing that light that everyone supposedly sees and being very content where he was at. And then when he came out of it, he turned religious on me, and I was just it's kind of weird. Everyone go ahead.
It happens. There are scientists who actually study near-death experience phenomena. And while we don't completely understand it, there's no reason to think that it's not just a dying brain, a malfunctioning, oxygen-deprived brain dying.
And religions have, of course, heard these stories that people report from near-death experiences. And, all of the stories you hear from religions about what you're going to see when you're on your way to heaven are all based on these reports of what people actually do experience when they're having near-death experiences. But there's no way to connect the dots there between, the things that go on in your brain when it's shutting down and the idea that those are really images from some real reality that you're going to after life.
Mm-hmm. I think it would probably be just the brain's way of coping with a stressful situation,
Or malfunctioning when it's oxygen deprived. It'd be like pouring sugar in the gas tank type of thing.
Right. So of course that's what you're going to hear, is stuff that sounds like that. Well, fine. The question still is there any evidence that your consciousness could exist without your body? And there isn't.
Yeah, and they've tested, by the way, near-death experience claims. One, people would claim they would float off the bed, et cetera, up towards the ceiling, but yet they could see and hear things that they shouldn't have been able to see and hear. So the simple way to test it is to put a note up on top of, for example, a bookshelf that they would be flying over, and then when they come back, ask them what the note was. They've done it for the people who've claimed astral projection and things like that, and it fails every time. The other thing to note is that people who have near-death experiences, for those who have the kind of the general, there's a light and a tunnel type thing, which to me, anybody who's fainted has probably seen a tunnel. There's a reason we call it tunnel vision in those situations. But for those people who don't experience the generic, for those people who experience specific symbolism and imagery, it almost always exactly matches the religious beliefs that they have. You don't have Hindus seeing Jesus. You don't have Protestants seeing the Virgin Mary.
I don't know if this report that I read, I know you probably sure on time. I want to get to other callers. I just want to say one more thing.
Sure.
I read somewhere on the internet, like I said, I don't know if it's a really reliable source, but they said that they actually, I guess, weighed somebody, an actual person, before death and after death, and they said that, there was, a big, weight difference, on the energy or something.
Yeah, it's just not true.
And that made me think,
energy doesn't have weight.
Yeah.
So right there's, that's a big question mark.
It's the movie 7 Grams was titled after this. Is an old kind of urban legend thing that they claimed, it's the weight of the soul. And the fact is that the original experiments that this was based on were just inaccurate. I mean, you can go to Skeptic's Dictionary. It's skeptic.com, skepdic.com. I'm sure there's an entry there for 7 grams, weight of the soul, whatever.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, well, hey, thank you for taking my call, guys. I hope I haven't sounded too much of an idiot.
No, you're
that's
fine.
All right. This is all, all this stuff is engineered to be very compelling sounding and very appealing sounding. So it's natural for people to, when they hear these kinds of ideas, to go, oh wow, maybe there's really something to that. I mean, that's why religions picked these kinds of things to say to people, because it's the stuff that we react to. But the bottom line always is there any actual evidence that this is really true?
And I could imagine a scenario like what you were talking about with the kind of post hoc explanation where somebody has a near-death experience thousands of years ago or 1,000 years ago or whatever, and terrified of what they saw, regardless of what it was, they go to their holy man and say, what happened to me? And the holy man, being the skilled liar that most of them are, says, oh, well, you saw the afterlife. And this isn't tied to any religion. I imagine this is how the mythos of afterlives kind of gained a foothold in the popular thought.
Right.
So
I felt a presence. Well, that must have been the great juju in the sky.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, there was this tunnel and a light at the end. Well, that was the light of the special place you get to go after you're gone.
Yeah. And it's no different from, I was thinking about somebody and the phone rang and it was them. Well, God wanted you to talk to them, that kind of thing. But anyway, thanks a lot, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.